Hey everyone! So today is the day that I'm harvesting all of my Gomphrena, and I have mixed feelings. So first, of course, I'm very sad because there hasn't really been anything this large that I've removed from the garden. Not that the Gomphrena, each plant is large, but I have a lot of it in the garden, and so when I take it out, there's going to be a lot of empty space that I'm actually not going to fill until next spring. So I'm not quite ready for that, because that is when I think I'll finally realize the end of garden season is here. The Gomphrena also still looks really good and provides a lot of color in my garden, but my plan is to harvest it to dry, and it'll basically dry how it looks when you harvest it. So if I wait a little bit longer, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, some of the flower heads are getting really long. They're starting to look a little bit haggard, some of them, so I don't want to wait too much longer, dry them, and then not have them look good dry. Now on the other hand, part of me is kind of ready for the garden to begin winding down this season. I think because we had such a dramatic and quick drop in temperature from the summer to the fall. Now today it's actually, I think, 7 degrees, which it hasn't been in a couple weeks, but we've been pretty consistently in like the 50 degrees for the last few weeks. So to me, it kind of felt like garden season was like naturally winding down. So I don't know. A lot of feelings right now about pulling these, but I am looking forward to bringing a bunch of color inside because I plan on hanging these from the ceiling to dry, just like I am with the smaller bunches, assuming I have space for it. So with that, let me show you where the Gomphrena is. I have 5 different varieties, up from one variety last year. I'm planning to sort and kind of bundle them together by color. So I'm going to do that as I harvest them, and then I will show you how I dry them. And then if I feel like doing it today, although I might not, I'll just kind of show you what I'm doing with the empty bed. So let's go ahead and I will show you where the Gomphrena currently is in my garden. The first area of Gomphrena, which looks the saddest, is the 3 corners here, which has the QIS Pink, which is again that really, really pale pink color Gomphrena. Now this is the one that I transplanted from a grow bag out back into the corners here when my super petunias got pulled. So, I mean, they did fine. I just don't think they really had enough time to root in before the cooler weather hit, and they definitely look the most sad compared to the other Gomphrena in the garden. So I'm not too upset to be pulling these. Now, around the corner, I have these 2, which I think are 12-inch pots of Gomphrena. These look really pretty, so more sad about pulling these, but I have another pot of the QIS Pink and then QIS Purple back there. Then swinging around to this bed here. This is the one that I think will make me the most sad because now there is going to be kind of this empty space here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I will take a lot of pictures before I go ahead and do it, but it's time for me to remove all of these. In terms of emptying out my garden, I've also really enjoyed kind of doing a couple plants each week, because then it seems a lot less overwhelming than having to get everything out of my garden, because not only do I have to, you know, harvest it and pull it, then I have to take the garden waste downstairs, and just that can be a lot of trips if I do it all at once. So for me, it's much easier to kind of break it up into more bite-sized pieces and clean up my garden that way. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start harvesting. I'm going to harvest in order of what will make me the least most sad, which means you are coming out first. And you can see the root ball remained relatively small after replanting. So now I'm just gonna start my piles by color there. Okay, so this is all of the QIS Pink. It's a lot more than I thought, kind of just looking at it growing. So what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing to harvest the other colors right now, I think I'm going to kind of deal with this first and then bring them inside and then move on to the other colors. So what I'm going to do is basically kind of cut the stems apart. This one more so compared to the QIS, what is it, Orange, Carmine, and Strawberry Fields. This one has more kind of blooms growing closer together, whereas a lot of the other ones are like single stems with one bloom. So I think I'm gonna have more blooms per stem on here. I've also definitely confused some of the bees as far as taking the Gomphrena away from them. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the stems, remove the leaves, bundle them together, and then bring them inside. Oh, that's a pretty shot, just full of Gomphrena. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this bundle here, just to give you kind of an idea of what I'm gonna do. So first I'm just gonna cut off kind of along this larger stem, these into smaller stems, kind of each of the stems, just cutting those off individually. Now I'm gonna take just one of the stems that I cut and I'm going to remove the leaves, which I know I need to get a leaf stripper. Probably should have got one now because I can already tell how long this is going to take, but I'm just going to pull all of the leaves off. Now you can leave the leaves on, but I find it is easier to pull them off now, unless you plan on liking the look of leaving the dried leaves on. But last year I didn't remove the leaves of all of them, and when I went to make a wreath, it was just much more fragile trying to remove the leaves from a dried flower as opposed to removing the leaves now when the flower is still fresh. So I'm just gonna do that for eternity until I'm done with this pile. Okay, so I've had a change of plans for my own sanity. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to go back and harvest the ones that I don't have as many of. So like the orange, the red, and the carmine. Also, the structure of those again is a little bit different. So not only do they not really have multiple flower heads, but I don't think they have quite as many leaves. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with that. That way I can get like smaller groupings of colors done. I might just bring all the rest of the ones inside that I don't get through today and just kind of work through them over the next few days whenever I'm bored and want to harvest leaves off of Gomphrena. So now I'm gonna go ahead and actually start harvesting from the center or the raised bed over on the back of the deck. So this is all of the orange that I have. So this will be much faster than trying to do all the pink first. So that took just a few minutes, and that is all the orange I got. I still don't understand, because this was 3 plants worth. Now I do have some orange that I've already kind of been harvesting throughout the season, but I did have 3 plants. The pink, I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants, and there's just so much more of it. So I don't know if it's, again, because they have a little bit of different structure. This one just puts out a lot more branches than this one does, but yeah. So this one I'm going to bundle all together, hang it up to dry just as one orange bundle. I'm going to do, continuing with the smaller batches, I'm going to do the Strawberry Field, which is the red one, and then the QIS Carmine, which is the kind of like fuchsia-y pink one. The purple, QIS Purple, has the same structure as the QIS Pink, so I imagine that one's going to be just as fun to get through the rest of those, but starting with the smaller batches and then moving on to the larger ones. So here's where we're at. I have 4 bundles total, 2 of the Carmine, 1 orange, 1 Strawberry Fields. So these are ready to be hung upside down. Now I'll show you what is still lying on my deck. We still have all of the pink, and I pulled the bundles of purple that were in the raised bed. Gonna leave the petunia that reseeded itself because why not? And then I still have this pot filled. So now I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because I'm hungry and then come out and get back to work. I might just end up drying the pink and the purple with the leaves on them and then worrying about it later, but we'll see how much energy I have after I get some food in me. I have had some lunch, including some Halloween candy stash that I've gotten into, so I feel a little bit more energized, and I'm gonna start working my way through the pink and the purple and hopefully get all this done today. Okay, well, I think I'm done, at least for today, again, to maintain my sanity. I would say overall, I've maybe been at this for like 3 hours, which in terms of like general time spent in the garden is not a lot, but when I'm doing the same thing over and over again, and that I didn't expect it to take this long, I need to move on to something else. But I think I'm at a pretty good point. So let me show you kind of what I have going on out here. Then I'm going to take these inside and get them hung upside down, because I find that if I don't get that done relatively soon after kind of bundling them up, that the necks on some of them will start to bend over, and I don't want that to happen. So I'll show you what it looks like, take you inside, and then hang them up, and I think that's going to be the end of what I do with the Gomphrena today. Alright, so for the QIS Purple, I didn't remove any leaves. The only thing I've done is tied them together in bunches. I'm just going to hang them upside down as it is, and I will worry about removing the leaves later. So that'll be a task for future Bethany. So I have 2 of the purple bundles down there. These bundles of the QIS Pink, I have removed the leaves, so those are basically all ready to go. I have another purple bundle here, another pink bundle here, another purple bundle here, and then on the floor I have 3 more pink. Basically the whole plant's left, and I'm just gonna hang these as the whole plant because again I am at my breaking point with the Gomphrena, and then later on I'll just kind of figure out what to do with that. And then here is the almost empty bed except for that petunia that again self-seeded, so I'm going to, I've already pulled up some of the root balls. I'm gonna worry about completely cleaning this another day, but basically I'll dig up the root balls, kind of scrape through the soil. I'm not going to plant anything until next year, but I might like put, like for example, maybe that strawberry pot up there because it does kind of now look a little empty. Alright, so let's get these hung up inside. Here they are all hung up, and I really do love having these sticks up here to dry because it just adds more color into the room. Clearly I need more because I don't even have the pink Gomphrena that's basically the plant. I don't know where I'm going to put that yet, that's still on the deck. But I'm thinking maybe like going the stretch of one of this whole wall for next year, if I ever want to dry Gomphrena again after today. But down here, just in case you are wondering, this is the mess it makes. It luckily doesn't shed too much unless you're actually touching them. So the mess isn't too terrible. But I just think that looks really pretty. Okay, so here's what I have left to do, which I'm not going to do today, but I need to find a place for the Gomphrena plants that I haven't like de-leaved or cut or anything like that. I do have to take them inside at least today because it's supposed to rain the next couple of days. Then I need to clean up the beds, but I'll worry about that in a few days. And then I still have the purple pot of Gomphrena that I forgot about, and I was like, oh, I'm almost done, and then I remembered there's still that pot over there. But we're pretty close. I do love how it looks hanging up inside. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but last year I decorated a Christmas tree, a fake Christmas tree with dried flowers. I'm going to do the same thing again this year, and this year I have a lot more Gomphrena, so I'm excited about that. And then I'm probably going to do another Gomphrena wreath like I did last year, but just with more colors. So as much as this might have been a much longer process than I thought, I still love Gomphrena. It's still one of my favorite flowers, and I'm going to grow even more next year. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Just one more shot of these trees here because they're so beautiful, but only for a few weeks.